I used to think humility was a virtue. Then I realized it cost me $50,000 in 1 year alone. Let me tell you about the most expensive personality trait you might be carrying right now, and why the Stoics would tell you to fix it immediately. If you've ever walked away from a negotiation feeling like you settled for less, or watched someone less qualified get promoted over you, this video might change how you see yourself forever. Now, before you click away thinking this is another toxic masculinity rant, stick with me. This is about ancient wisdom meeting modern reality. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they understood something about confidence and self-worth that we've completely lost in today's world. Here's what's happening to good men everywhere. We've been taught that being humble means making ourselves smaller, that confidence is arrogance, that asking for what we're worth is selfish, and it's bankrupting us, literally and figuratively. I see it everywhere. The software engineer who's been at the same company for 5 years, never asking for a raise because he doesn't want to seem pushy. The entrepreneur who underprices his services because he feels guilty charging what he's actually worth. The manager who lets his ideas get stolen in meetings because he doesn't want to seem aggressive. Let me tell you about David, a client of mine. Brilliant guy, 15 years of experience in digital marketing. He was charging $50 an hour for work that agencies were charging $200 an hour for. When I asked him why, he said, "I don't want to seem greedy." Greedy? This man had 3 kids, a mortgage, and was literally choosing poverty over confidence. That's not humility, that's self-destruction. Now, here's where the Stoics come in, and this is going to challenge everything you think you know about humility. Marcus Aurelius, literally the most powerful man in the ancient world, wrote in his meditations how much trouble he avoids, who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself. Notice what he's not saying. He's not saying make yourself small. He's not saying don't recognize your own value. He's saying focus on your actions, your worth, your contribution. Epictetus, who went from slave to one of Rome's greatest philosophers, taught something revolutionary. Know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. Think about that. A man who literally started with nothing understood that you must know your worth before you can claim it. Seneca, the advisor to emperors, put it even more bluntly. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Sometimes you have to end the version of yourself that accepts less than you deserve. These men weren't teaching false humility. They were teaching accurate self-assessment combined with unshakable confidence in your own value. The modern mistake. So where did we go wrong? When did humility become self-sabotage? It happened when we confused humility with self-diminishment. Real humility isn't about making yourself smaller. It's about accurate self-assessment without ego or insecurity clouding your judgment. Here's the expensive mistake. We think being humble means never talking about our achievements, accepting the first offer in any negotiation, letting others take credit for our work, apologizing for taking up space, undercharging for our time and expertise. But that's not humility, that's fear dressed up as virtue. Let me give you a real example. I was consulting for a tech startup, and there was this developer. Let's call him Marcus, ironically. This guy had built half their platform single-handedly, genius-level work. But in meetings, he'd say things like, "I just threw together some code," or "It's probably not that good, but..." Meanwhile, another developer who contributed maybe 20% of what Marcus did would present his work like he'd just cured cancer. Guess who got promoted? The modest genius or the confident contributor? You already know the answer. The real cost. Let's talk numbers, because this isn't just about feelings. This is about your life. The Harvard Business Review found that people who negotiate their salary just once can earn over $1 million more during their careers than those who don't. $1 million. That's the cost of being too humble to ask for what you're worth. But it goes deeper than money. Career cost. While you're being humble, less qualified, but more confident, people are getting promoted over you. They're not necessarily better. They're just better at communicating their value. Relationship cost. If you can't advocate for yourself professionally, you probably struggle to set boundaries personally. Humble guys often end up in relationships where they're taken for granted. Psychological cost. When you consistently accept less than you deserve, you start believing that's all you're worth. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I've seen brilliant men waste decades of their lives because they couldn't bridge the gap between knowing their worth and claiming it. So how do we fix this? How do we embrace true Stoic confidence without becoming arrogant jerks? Marcus Aurelius practiced daily self-reflection, not self-criticism, self-assessment. Every evening he'd review his day. What did I do well? Where did I add value? What could I improve? Start a worth journal. Write down your accomplishments, the problems you solved, the value you created. Not to boost your ego, but to see yourself clearly. True humility isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less. There's a huge difference. When you're in a salary negotiation, you're not being arrogant by stating your market value. You're being accurate. When you're presenting an idea, you're not being pushy by speaking with confidence. You're being effective. Seneca had a practice. He'd imagine losing everything he had, then feel grateful for what remained. This wasn't pessimism. It was preparation. When you're not attached to outcomes, you can advocate for yourself without desperation. Apply this to negotiations. Know your worth, ask for it, and be prepared to walk away. That's not arrogance. That's strength. Epictetus taught that we grow by doing things that feel uncomfortable. If asking for what you're worth feels uncomfortable, that's exactly why you need to do it. Start small. Practice stating your accomplishments without diminishing them. Instead of, I just did a little project, say, I completed a project that increased efficiency by 30%. Remember David, the marketer charging $50 an hour? Here's what happened when he applied these principles. First, he did an honest assessment of his skills and results. He generated over $2 million in revenue for his clients in the previous year. That's not opinion, that's math. Second, he researched market rates and found he was charging 75% below market value. Third, he practiced the Stoic approach. He raised his rates to $150 an hour and prepared to lose clients who wouldn't pay it. Result, he lost 2 clients and gained 4 new ones at the higher rate. His income tripled in 6 months. B-roll, before-after scenarios, success stories, testimonials. But here's the most important part. He didn't become arrogant. He became accurate. He started charging what his results were worth, not what his insecurity told him to accept. Here's what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Open your phone's Notes app and write down 3 specific accomplishments from the last month. Don't minimize them. State them as facts. Identify one area where you're accepting less than you deserve. Is it your salary, your relationship, the respect you get at work? Set a deadline. Give yourself 30 days to have one difficult conversation about your worth, whether that's asking for a raise, setting a boundary, or raising your prices. Pick one and commit. The Stoics believed that philosophy without action is worthless. Don't let this be another video you watch and forget. Your future self is counting on the decision you make right now. Remember, confidence isn't about thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about knowing your value and not settling for less than you deserve. The expensive mistake of being too humble isn't just costing you money. It's costing you the life you're meant to live. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, confine yourself to the present. The present moment is where you decide whether you're going to continue accepting less than your worth or whether you're going to start claiming the value you bring to the world. If this video helped you see humility differently, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're building a community of men who understand that true strength comes from knowing your worth and living it every day. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one area where you've been too humble for your own good? Let's start the conversation. And if you're ready to dive deeper into building unshakable confidence based on Stoic principles, check out the link in the description. I've put together a free guide that breaks down exactly how to assess your worth and communicate it effectively. Your worth isn't negotiable. It's time you started acting like it. I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong.